Hey guys, and welcome back to Z3 Cubing. Today is my 23rd Q&A. So welcome to the 23rd episode of the series on my channel, where I look through all the comments on my previous Q&A video and try and answer as many of those as possible in this video. So the first question of the day is, what was your first speed cube? The first cube that I got that I would really consider like an actual speed cube is this one right here. This is a Dian Guhong V2, and before this one I just had like a Rubiks friend, which I had been practicing on for a few years at that point. But this one actually turns decently, not very good compared to modern standards, but compared to the standards back then, it was a pretty good speed cube. So yeah, this was my first one. Do you think a 12x12 will be mass produced? Yeah, I do think in the relatively near future, there will probably be a 12x12. I don't think there's any plans to make one by any company at the current moment. But with everything like the new 9x9, which is really cheap, like $35, and having like a 17x17 mass produced, all that kind of stuff, eventually we'll have to catch up and have the 12x12 in between the 11x11 and the 13x13 that they've already made. I figure that'll happen someday. How many cube mods have you done? So of course a mod or modification is where you take a normal mass produced cube like this and do something crazy with it, like turning it into some crazy shape like a barrel, like I did with this one. I just counted all my cube mods over there in my collection, and I had somewhere around 30, maybe 40, somewhere around there. Which takes more time, solving a 3x3 or answering this question? Now I'm kind of trying to figure out the answer to this question as I'm answering it. I'm not really that fast at 3x3, but it really just depends on how long I draw out the question, which one will take me longer. But honestly, I'm going to say that solving the 3x3 takes me more time. What was the hardest WCA event for you to learn? That's a pretty interesting question because there are a whole lot of different WCA events, all of which require different skills, and a lot of those skills kind of build on top of each other. Like once you learn how to solve a 3x3, you then can learn how to solve a 4x4. So the hardest ones would be something like, I don't know, a 7x7 at the very top of the n/n line, or maybe like a square one, or even blind. I think blind is probably one of the hardest ones, and I'd say that's probably the hardest one for me learning how to solve. Wait a minute, what the heck is going on behind me? How long has that been like that? Another one of these things fell off the wall. This happens all the time when I'm not recording. I guess I need to get some new sticky stuff. But yeah, I guess I gotta fix this temporarily. Hope it stays up for the rest of the episode. Would you rather get a world record in clock or 3x3 with feet? Those are definitely the two most hated WCA events, so it's a pretty interesting question to choose between the two. Honestly though, I'd probably go with feet, because clock is just kind of some weird side event. It's not really a Rubik's Cube or anything like that. I don't really like the puzzle very much, even though I do compete in it sometimes. Whereas feet, I feel like if you were to do a lot of practice, it would be a really cool and unique skill, being able to solve just a normal 3x3 using your feet. I just think it's a cooler event than clock is. Are you ever going to change your intro? So this question was actually posted before I changed my name to Z3 Cubing and got rid of my old Lego Boy Z3 intro, and currently I don't have an intro on my channel. So to answer the next question that you guys are inevitably going to ask, and I think a lot of you guys have asked in my previous few videos, are you going to make a new intro? The answer to that one is yes. I'm not quite sure when it's going to be ready, but I am working on it now. I might release it like once I hit 100,000 subscribers, but until then, you guys just have to wait. It'll be out soon. Is there an age you have to be in WCA events? I just turned 11. So no, there is no defined age that you have to be to compete in a WCA competition. People of any age can compete, including you being 11. I believe I was 12 at my first WCA competition, but people less than half that age have competed at competitions before. What was the first Rubik's Cube YouTube channel you watched? That would be Me, Myself, and Pi back in early 2011 when I first got into cubing. Watching that channel was actually what first got me interested in Rubik's Cubes. Can you make a magnetic 8x9? I'm not really sure if that's supposed to mean 8x8 or 9x9, but now that I do have a 9x9, I guess I could do it on this cube. That would actually be a really interesting idea. I'm not sure if anyone has done it before. I'm not sure if the pieces are actually big enough to fit magnets in there, but that would actually be really cool. I guess I might try that out and see if it's possible someday. And maybe I would do it. It would be really heavy in the end though. Are carbon fiber cubes legal in WCA events? I believe those are like stickerless cubes where you have black stickers over every single piece in the puzzle, so you can just see like a little outline of color around every piece. And as far as I know, I do not think they are legal in WCA competition, so definitely get a non-carbon fiber cube if you're going to compete in one. But honestly, I just don't see the point of those at all. Like, it just seems like it would make it way harder to recognize any colors on the cube compared to a stickered or a stickerless puzzle. So yeah, I really don't get the point of those. Why are not get twisty puzzle? You know, that's a really wonderful question, and I'm really glad you asked, but like, I just like, I don't really know. I guess I'll have to take some time and think about that. What do you think is the most popular WCA event apart from 3x3? Now you really don't have to guess about this question because you can just go to the WCA, look at the statistics page, and see that the answer is 2x2. And that really makes a lot of sense because if you can solve a 3x3, you can solve a 2x2 because you just do the corners. So yeah, that makes sense. Why are you screaming this sentence? Probably because you wrote it in all caps. How do you get your custom shades? Where do you get them from? Now there are a few different cube stores that'll offer custom cut stickers for different types of puzzles in whatever colors that you want. Personally, I get mine for most of my puzzles from the Cubicle.us, and I'll leave the link down in the description down below where you can see the particular colors that I use on my cubes. Is your name pronounced Lego Boy Z3 or Lego Boys 3? Neither, it's pronounced Z3 Cubing. Seriously though, does anybody ever spell boys as B-O-Y-Z? Like, why would you do that? Also, I say my name at the beginning of every single video from the beginning of my channel. They go boy Z3. What is your least favorite WCA event? So like I said earlier, for most people this probably comes down to clock or 3x3 with feet, but I also said that I kind of like 3x3 with feet as a concept, just being able to solve a 3x3 with your feet really fast, just as a kind of cool concept. But there's also events like 2x2 that a lot of people don't really like just because it's so stupidly fast. Honestly though, out of all of those, I'd probably go with clock as my least favorite. This isn't a question, but put it in the next Q&A. Alright, the real question is what I'm supposed to do now after I've read out your comment and have nothing to answer. I'm just kind of sitting here awkwardly, not knowing what to say. Have you ever gotten OLL plus PLL skip? Also known as the last layer skip, it's basically where you finish your F2L and the last layer is already completely done. You don't have to do any OLL or any PLL. I think I actually have gotten one once, but it was on 5x5, so the time wasn't actually that good. Do you have any pets? And also, where is the cat? The cat is right here. She is not wanting to cooperate with my video. I think she's leaving the room now, but yeah, there she was. How long a day do you spend cubing? Now this may be kind of surprising, but on a normal day I don't really spend much time at all actually like practicing or solving cubes, unless there's a competition coming up, in which case I will practice quite a lot. The most time that I spend cubing is making these videos, 1 or 2 videos every week. That's the most time that I spend working with Rubik's cubes. Which competition out of state was your favorite? Now, although local Colorado competitions are a lot of fun, my favorite competitions in general tend to be like US Nationals, bigger competitions like that. And so my favorite competition at the current moment would probably be the most previous US Nationals that I went to, so 2018. What's your favorite color on a puzzle that has your custom shades? Now my favorite color in general would be green, and I do quite like the shade of green that I have on my custom shades. I believe it's called grass green. It goes decently well with the rest of the colors on the cube, and I guess that would probably be my favorite out of all of these. Do an end perm without regrips. So I guess the reasoning behind this comment is that end perms are notoriously hard to finger trick, so let's go ahead and try it out with one of my algorithms. And I'm definitely regripping the cube quite a lot during that one. So let's just put it back. I don't think that's really possible. So let's try with my other end perm. That one I think if you tried really hard it would be possible to do without regrips. Let's try it one more time. I also tend to forget the algorithm a lot when I'm just doing it like this. Yeah, that wasn't very good. I think I regripped a little bit in there. How does nervousness affect your times in competitions? At this point, that really totally depends on what cube it is and how well I want to do in that cube. I don't really get nervous anymore just by solving in front of people. I mostly get nervous because I myself want to do good in a particular event. So if I really want to get a particular time and I'm really nervous about that, then that will make me nervous and that will definitely affect my times. So yeah, the best times that I get at a competition tend to be actually when I don't care about a particular event, which is kind of counterintuitive, but it actually kind of happens that way. Is VCube still the best? Yes, VCube is still the best. That's a reference to some of my really old Q&As, if you guys don't get that. Next, take apart the Super Square 1 star. So I got a screwdriver here. I believe the screw is right in between these pieces right here. Number 3, what's your lucky number? I guess if I had to choose one, it would be the number that I just said right there, number 3. Kind of a cool number. And number 4, don't fix the Super Square 1 star until Q&A number 23. I'm not really sure what that means because I think this is Q&A number 23, but I think I'm going to leave it disassembled for quite a while. Anyway, take it apart here. Mostly falling apart. Wow, this is actually really resilient. Why is it not coming apart? There we go, there's a piece. Oh, there we go. The whole thing is separating now. And the Super Square 1 is in pieces. Do you think X-Man should make a sculpted cube with the same grip as the Megaminx? I think it would definitely be cool to have more cubes with a sculpted grip like this one right here. The GTS 3 came out pretty recently and it has a pretty similar grip to this one. But more cubes like a Scube might be interesting, maybe a Pyraminx, things like that. I don't know if that would help, but I think it would be cool at least to try it out. Can you take apart the Pentacle cube? I mean, I suppose I can. It shouldn't be too complicated to put back together. Let's just take a center cap off. It has a screw right here. I guess we can unscrew this real quick. And here we go. So I wonder how suddenly this is going to fall apart now that I pull it apart. Yeah, pretty suddenly. So that's what the inside of the Pentacle cube looks like. Do you think I should go to a competition if it takes me about a minute to solve a 3x3? I know I've said this many times before, but if you can at all solve any cube under the cutoff set by the competition, which is normally at least a few minutes, then you should definitely go to the competition. It's a lot of fun. Even if you don't compete at all, it's still a lot of fun to meet new people and try out cubes, things like that. Definitely go even if it takes you multiple minutes. Can you take apart the 7x7 barrel? Well, I have it here, so I guess I don't really see why not. Let's take it apart like this. This is kind of a fun way of doing it. Take these pieces out. 7x7s aren't too hard to disassemble. Once you get a few pieces out, the whole thing just kind of comes crumbling apart in your hands, just like this. And here we go. Everything's kind of falling apart now. Pieces going everywhere. Having to talk over the sound of everything. And there we go. Here is the core of a 7x7. I think we can even take this apart a little bit further. And there we go. There is the middle of the 7x7 barrel. If you were to remake your top 5 cube brands, what order would it be in? I think last time I made that video, it was Diane, Chengxiao, Yushin, Moyu, Qi. I think I would definitely have to kick out Diane because they're not really doing anything anymore. I might leave Chengxiao in as number 5, and then maybe Yushin. I'd put Gan in there because last time I made that video, I didn't own any Gan cubes. Gan would be number 3, and then Moyu and Qi would still be numbers 2 and 1. Also, take apart your giant 3x3 right now. So I have the super big 3x3 right here. It's not too hard to take apart, it's just like a normal 3x3. I'm gonna take the piece here. I don't want to drop it all over the place because that gets a little bit loud and messy. Just set everything down here. The rest of it, there we go. You know, this is kind of getting into a little bit of a mess, so I think I'll just start answering multiple comments at the same time so it'll cover up everything on the table, and all you can see right here is me. So how fast do you think the 3x3 world record can get, and who do you think will get the first sub 4 3x3 single? So I think it can definitely get sub 4. That's kind of a realistic goal. It's 4.22 right now. I think sub 4 is kind of inevitable eventually. Felix, of course, has the current world record, and I think he could definitely get another world record. But also Max Park is getting really good at 3x3. I think he might even take the world record average from Felix at some point in the future. And he's been really unlucky for his entire cubing career of getting good singles, especially in like 3x3. So maybe he has a chance of getting one too. Can you take out the core on the 8x8? Now, when this question was asked, this was the only 8x8 that I owned, so I assume he's talking about this one. Also, the core on this cube is actually kind of cool. So I guess we've taken apart enough puzzles today. Might as well take apart another one. So take out these pieces, take out a few more. This one falls apart a little bit easier than like a 7x7. And here we go. Pieces falling out everywhere. Gets a little bit loud. So here we go, here is the actual core. The interesting thing is you have these 4 centerpieces around each actual center that kind of rotate like this, but they're actually kind of wobbly in place. You can actually take them out. And if you take all of them out, it's just like this little ball, just kind of like a Rubik's 4x4. So yeah, it's actually a pretty interesting core of a puzzle. Let's set it there. Is 23 seconds on 3x3 good for 2 months cubing? Now honestly, it took me like 5 years to get down to those kind of times on 3x3, so I'd say compared to me, it's pretty good. And is that tile in the background crooked? What the heck is happening? Oh, okay, it's fallen down. Challenge, take apart all your puzzles. Well, I've kind of already taken apart a lot of my puzzles, and everything's just kind of fallen apart around me. You know, I think we better end this Q&A episode before it gets much worse. Leave your questions down in the comments down below if you want it to be answered next time. I'll be sure and look through those. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.